Hello and welcome to another That Random Model and another unboxing video. And today we're going to find out what's in this box. AMT. AMT is a known model manufacturer. And if you look at the front, you got that it's a 1991 Geostorm GSI. If you follow me on Instagram, my story on this had a song that was called Geostorm, so that was a little hint as to what was coming. So, if you're used to the channel or know anything about models, you probably are looking at this thinking it's put together, and you'd be right. This is put together, and it is made by AMT. Excuse me, and it has right proportions. This looks like it is 1/25th scale. Which would be right in line with other AMT Ertl offerings of the era, and it definitely has the right look and feel of an AMT car. No glass, just chrome plastic for the headlights. Your usual chromed rims. You got screws on the bottom and metal axles, which some cars had. You got rear lights. A lot of the details are molded in. The mirrors are missing. I didn't realize that when I got this, but the mirrors are missing. And then you got this right here. The number plate on here says 1991 because this is a 1991 Geostorm GSI, what's called a promotional model. And promos were made to you would buy them at car dealerships, um, pick them up for $5-10 or so, and sometimes there'd be a promotion to test drive a car, and you get a promotional model. Sometimes if you bought a car and the car dealer the salesman that you bought the car from was nice and noticed that you had a kid, and I'd say, "Hey, I got something in the back," and they'd just give this to you for your kid, so he could go in the back and make vroom vroom noises. We all do that, you know that. Have a nice little toy that looks like mom or dad's car, and yeah, this looks like a Geo Prism. Excuse me, why did I say Prism? Geostorm from 1991. It's got the pop-up headlights. It's got the covers popped up. It wasn't the whole thing like a Miata or a Nissan Pulsar or something like that, Firebird. But yeah, so you got a nice little car. Promotional models entered the market around the 1920s and 30s, and one of the first manufacturers of promotional models was AMT. I did not know this at the time, but AMT stands for Aluminum Model Toys. So, yeah, this is like a Tonka toy from the 1920s, 1930s, and they went into other scale model versions and just got eventually they were bought up by Ertl. If you look at this, you get a little bit of a metallic flake embedded in it. This is molded in color, basically. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart. You can see the detail underneath looks nice. The tires are like a rubber compound, which meets with Ertl's quality. In the 40s and 50s is when promo kits, or excuse me, promo cars actually took off. And so what you've got is you've got AMT and other um, promo manufacturers getting into the biz. And eventually that led to other manufacturers. And one of the ones I looked up was one called Johann. Now, Johann was created by a man named John uh, Hannell. And John Hannell, my research said that he had some kind of name for his toy company, and I guess a backer or something said we don't like it, and so he changed it to Johann, which is a shortened form of his name, John Hannell. So I did not know about the Johann name before I did the research today. I did not know about AMT's name being Aluminum Model Toys before today. So I learned something I think is pretty cool. So you're welcome. Another new fact that you may or may not have known. And if you knew about that, that's great. Tell me in the comments below that you knew it, and I am a person that will believe you. Now, let's see. Normally, I'm putting together models. Today, I'm taking this one apart. We're going to crack this baby open and see what's inside. Now, getting back to promo story, promos were still pretty popular in the 60s and 70s, and you have people that will collect them like they collect anything else, ashtrays and playing cards from Hoyle. Don't know other playing card companies, but I like to say the name Hoyle. It's a fun word, right? So, so you'd have these promo cards proliferating in the 60s and 70s and into the 80s, and then they started winding down. But you got a card that has pretty good quality. It's got the same amount of quality as any quality AMT offering. Now, I am using the term quality with AMT very loosely. If you're familiar with AMT kits, you'll know my pain when it comes to AMT kits. Those are pretty bad. So so if you look in here, this has been fused together. You'd have to pry this back. Kind of defeats the purpose of opening this thing up. But you can see the parts where it comes together and all. I'm actually going to trim this back. I'm gonna pop this baby open. I didn't do a good job and get this ready for today's broadcast, and I apologize. I wanted to show off the quality of the interior because it's hard to see right here, but you can see the seat rests right there. And if you're eagle eye, you might be able to see the molded in rear seat, as well as maybe the interior features like the steering wheel and the dash cluster. And can you see the? Let's see if I can get a light in on that thing. That bad boy right there. You can see the shifter. Some interesting details. I've opened a couple of these as before, and they're not bad. Basically just a regular model car, but pre-made, put together, molded in color. And I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to make it look a little bit more model-like, more appearance. I'm not going to change the color, even though I'm not crazy about this this teal color. Because the reason I'm not crazy about it is because it's not really authentic to what they had at the time. They had one that was a bluer, or one that was kind of greener looking. I don't remember one looking quite like this. Yellow was a popular color, and they had that on eBay. And you can find these, fairly inexpensive. I think this one was $15-20 with shipping. So you can get a nice little thing model to put on your desk right there and say, oh, I used to have one of these when I was a kid, or man, I don't see these anymore. Wouldn't it be nice if I had one of these? But one thing that's interesting is that if you want a model, let's say of the 91 Geostorm, this is it. This is what you're going to find. There's no kit of this, even though they molded this. They went through the process. They molded this. They made all the pieces for it. They had they had it all ready to go, and it looks pretty decent and nice. And they had mirrors at some point. This one doesn't have it, but they made a nice offering, but they never sold it in kit form. I don't know why, but yeah, you could pick one up at your local Geo dealership. Um, I don't know what other cars they released at the time. Promos isn't something that I'm very familiar with. I've had a couple of them over the years, um, mostly because of their uniqueness and their rarity. Um, because, like I said, a lot of the cars that they did in the 90s and up to the 2000s was when they kind of petered out. I mean, you can still find them every so often in a dealership. Mostly, a lot of them have gone to like larger scale diecast ones, and you're now paying upwards to 150, $200 for some of them. High quality ones, the doors open, maybe nice, good, large scale, but not exactly the same type of promotional gimmick to draw you into the dealership as far as like, oh, come test drive this and we'll give you a toy for your kid, or we'll give you something to put on your desk to sit there and say, that does look like a fine automobile. Maybe I will get that because it makes the vroom vroom noises here. Maybe it'll make the vroom vroom noises in the twisty canyons. So nice little tool that they sold back then. Um, I keep losing track off the story. So I was going to tell you that some of the later promos that you found, you had the Geostorm, you had the Dodge company came along called Brookside, and they started making promos in 125th scale as well. And so you have the Dodge Neon, the first generation, and there's also a Oldsmobile Aurora first generation as well. And so those are cars that you can't find in a 124th, 125th scale offering. And if you really want to get your hands on a Geostorm, if you really want to get your hands on a Dodge Neon, I don't judge. It's none of my business why you might want to do that. But if you do, you can pick up a promo. You can take them apart. It's fairly simple. I don't want to twist it and bear down on it and possibly break this on this or make this a 80-minute video because I'm trying to crack into this and use some colorful language when things go south. But I'll take this apart. I'm gonna you can see some scuffs right here. I'm going to clean this up. I'm gonna polish this back and bring out this color because I do like this color. It's pretty cool. Like I said, I don't remember Geostorms coming in this color. They were a little different than that. You can Google what colors Geostorms came in. I remember something that was a little bit lighter than this, and a little bit darker than this. And then they had red, they had white, they had yellow, and you can get a promo in red and yellow. I think they have one in white. Excuse me. And you could get a model of this if you're willing to settle for a promo. Maybe crack it open and I never even thought about this, how this would come apart. Probably also is fused together along the top. But yeah, I would take these all off. I'd polish this back, sand it back a little bit, smooth it out, and then I would fill in some stuff. I will be doing that on this one. We'll get it fixed up and ready to go. If you were a fan of the Geostorm, these were cool. When I was a kid, these were everywhere. These were cool. Everybody had one. They were very popular model at the time. The car this was based on was a Isuzu Impulse, and you never saw an Isuzu Impulse that looked like this. I remember seeing maybe five my whole life, but the Isuzu Impulse was a little bit better. This came in a front wheel drive platform, and there was a hatchback version that looked kind of like a little two-door wagon, but the Isuzu Impulse, it had all-wheel drive. It had a turbocharged engine. It had a little bit cooler styling. Um, and whereas this is a hatchback, and I think the Isuzu Impulse is too, The Isuzu Impulse looks more like a truncated car, more like a coupe version, and it just had more of a unique styling, especially since you hardly ever saw one. So that was something that was kind of cool. Like I said, this is something that I saw a lot when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and boy, they were really neat. They were cool. They were spunky. Had a lot of pep and go. A lot of people were tuning these and just racing them on the corners to get to and from school and college. This was also the time when the Eclipses came out. The Eclipse spanned they had a starting price close to this, but man, they would go up to the full-on all-wheel drive package, turbocharged. They had some that were actually very competitive when it came to that. But these topped out at the time between and 14, $15,000, and I couldn't tell you what that is today. It's probably close between 22 and $30,000. But you get the point. This was a low entry um, ticket into getting your own little sports car. A lot of people, this was their first car. If you're close to my age, it was probably your first car, maybe a little bit younger, but maybe a little bit older. But this is a fun car to have if you really like the Dodge Neon, the first generation. You could pick yourself up one of those. If you really like the first generation Oldsmobile Aurora, that's a fantastic car. And I think it was the first time that GM offered the North Star before it started offering it to the Cadillacs. It was in the Oldsmobile. So you could have a piece of history in your hand with one of these cars. Do a little research, look up Brookside, and find out what other cars that they sold in their line. Who knows? You might come across something that you've never seen before, didn't know existed, or maybe of a car that you just can't live without a copy of. So, or that you can't find anymore. When was the last time you saw Geostorm on the road? I bet you it wasn't Tuesday. I bet you even money it wasn't Tuesday. So that is my review today. What's in the box? A Geostorm. And if you guessed it, I think that's amazing, because the only hint you would have had on the on this would have been on the Instagram, where the song playing in the background was Geostorm. So yeah, so this is a fun little thing. I'm gonna make this look a little bit better than it does today, but there's only so much you can do. I mean, you can do whatever you want to with it. So that's my show for today. The AMT Ertl Promo 1991 Geostorm GSI. GSI was the cool version at the time. It was a cool kid with all the bells and goodies and whistles, and that powerful 1.4 liter 4-cylinder action. So thank you all for coming by, stopping by, watching the video. I really enjoy doing these, and I hope you enjoy watching them as well. Thank you so much for coming by. What would you do with a promo? Would you paint it? Would you customize it? Would you put little tuner graphics on it? There's anything you'd want to do. This is a really unique front. I really like the way that looks. And they kind of did a refresh in this car was offered from 90 to 93. It was only for 4 years. And right in the middle of that 92, they kind of refreshed in the front, and they dropped the pop-up headlights, by the way. And they made it look more like the Camaro at the time front end. So this looked kind of like a little baby sister car to the Camaro. So fun little car. A lot of spunky little history to go along with that. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for enjoying the hobby, and we will be getting back to building pretty soon. Y'all have a very fine day. Bye.